What up, party people? I decided to interview myself because I can. This is my podcast. So, this is a special edition. This for all my fans around the world, and especially my fans who've been with me from day one when I got on this podcast, when I started this channel, and I stopped for 3 years, and I initiated it back. And some of those same fans were still here. So this is for you. This is the Christmas special. This is for you. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to give you all a little insight about me and my life. Let's go. I came from, I'll be honest, and I don't mean to disrespect no one in my family, but I have to be honest and I have to tell the truth. I came from an unstable household. I really did. It was so unstable, and it's funny because in all honesty, this is why I'm doing this podcast, because I was speaking to a relative of mine about 4 or 5 days ago, and we were just talking about the election and some family things, and she mentioned that, you know, for you all who don't know, my family called me Lil Michael. She mentioned that, Lil Michael, your mama used to do everything. Your mama gave you the world. And that befuddled me when she said that. And it also made me feel some type of way because, first of all, I must put this out there. My mother is dead and gone. But again, I felt some type of way when she said that because I'm like, you said my mother gave me the world. And I felt some type of way because she really don't know. And this is my first cousin. My mother and her mother is sisters. You know, so, and they was the best of sisters. They really were. They're a couple of months in age. And like I said, they were the best of sisters. So my cousin, me and her, like a year apart, maybe a year and a half. But despite that, she would know, I would say, 60% of my life, because we do share the same blood from our mother's side, come from the same grandparents. But we hadn't lived in the same household. Now, when I was younger, I can't say I went by her house more than she came by my house. And think about what I'm saying. I went by her house more than she came by my house because her house that my auntie ran, it was a little bit more established and structure-wise than my house. Now, I'm not going to say my house. Then the house where I lived at, which were my parents' house, then my grandparents' house. So, yeah, so when she said that, I had to rectify that. Like, no, don't get it twisted. I can't let that slide. I can't. Don't get it twisted. Because I can remember from the age that I can remember as a kid, adolescent, and that's starting at about what? For me, it probably was about 6, 7 that my recollection became vivid. And honestly, from that age all the way up until about, I made 17 years old. Anywhere between, no, I'm gonna say 16, from 16 to 17 years old. So let's say from about the age that I can remember, which is about 6, 7, maybe 5, 6, 7 for sure, all the way up until 15, 16, 17 years old. I had a blank period. All those years of struggle. Mother and father didn't do jack ish for me. You know? So it's like, for you to say that, it's like, what are you talking about? When somebody told you this? Mind you, I have one sister on my mother's side. My one sister on my mother's side talks to her often. Now, my one sister on my mother's side, I'm finding out later on in my life, like 30s, 40s, not even 30s, really like 40s years old, that she was jealous of some things that my mother did for me. One thing in particular, and I didn't even know it, and that was put a car, and also paid for the car, I have to be honest. Paid for the car when I was 23 years old. My mother paid for the car for me. Just came home from jail. So maybe she's talking about that she got information from my sister, because my family members know that that car that I had in 1999, my mother purchased it for me. But what about from 6, 7 years old all the way up to 16, 17? I can't remember nothing. No love. All I can remember is negativity. And I'm not gonna bash my mother on here, but if I'm gonna give y'all my testimony, I got to give you the truth. It was nothing but drugs. I'm talking about literally. If y'all can remember that movie, what the movie that Samuel L. Jackson played in, and he had the gun in his hand on the counter, and he said, "When you gonna pay me my motherfucking money?" Something of that nature there. And your boy said, "I ain't got your money. I'm gonna give you your money to get it." I think that was Jada Pinkett played in that movie, I believe. Menace to Society? No, that's not Menace to Society. Get in that comment section. Let me know what you all. Tell me what that movie is. Menace to Society? I think Menace to Society, I believe. With Kane? Yeah, that's Menace to Society. Well, you remember the Kane stepson, the little boy, how he was in a house, and you got all these people in there with your mama and your stepdaddy. That's how I was. As a little bitty kid, 5, 6. We talking about 1986. No. Not 86, I'm sorry, that's too long. Maybe 1981, 82-ish, something like that. I'm like locked in a room, a project now, bricks, the real project, St. Thomas Housing Development. I'm talking about I'm locked in a room, little bitty boy, box TV, that's barely working, with a hanger on the TV, as the antenna. For you millennials, you all don't probably not familiar with that. But everyone from my generation, you all are above. You all know what I'm talking about. TV don't work. I'm talking about I'm starving in there. You know? And this was my mother was doing. This when she was in her addiction. The room was no more than 6 6 feet by 6. You know what I'm saying? So, and it wasn't no bed, and there's a couple of mattresses on the floor. You know? And I got a few He-Man toys or whatever in there. Occasionally, I go open up the door. The room door, we ain't in nothing but a 1-bedroom apartment. I go open up the room door, peep through there, what I see? My mama, such and such, such and such, such and such, all at the table. I see needles. I see wine tops. I see wine bottles and green bottles. I'm talking about I see everything. I see them with shit wrapped around their arm. You know, so those were some miserable times for me. But as a kid, I didn't understand it. I really didn't. And I didn't know that some of those days and times played a part in me doing what I did when I became a teenager. You know, I was unsupervised. I'm talking about like it was bad. I done went on, see, people don't know this, and my mother don't even know that I remember because she passed on. And it didn't affect me then as much as it do now, because as an adolescent, I thought that was life. I really did. Growing up where I grew up at and how I grew up, I wasn't the only one that was dealing with that. So I thought that was the norm. But when I became a man, and occasionally I just think about my life and my past, and I think about some of those times and days and things that we did and she did and put me through, I realized it wasn't me. I was going through it. It was my parents. You know, so I can say that I'll be making a bold statement by saying they didn't care, because I myself had an addiction, and I know how powerful addiction is. But you have to have enough common sense to say that if I can't take care of my child or my children, I'm going to give them to someone in my family who can. Now, mind you, I have a sister, like I mentioned a couple of minutes ago. She's 5 years older than me. I don't have no memories of my sister. No memories of us as adolescents. I'm lying. I have one. I have one memory. I have one memory, and I have another situation. It's not so much a memory. It was a negative and it was a bad situation that happened. And nowhere it is a memory. But it's not a memory of, a positive memory of us enjoying each other's company as sisters and brothers. Like, you know, we wake up, it's obvious we should have shared the same room because we both have the same mom. Different dads, same mom. So if we have the same mom, therefore we raised in the same household. You know, although she's 5 years older than me, we should have had bunk beds or something in the front room while my mom Duke got the bedroom, or give us the bedroom and she had the front room. I don't remember nothing with her. Only thing I remember is with me taking a bath, had to been about 7 or 8 in the project, and my sister, my mama must have told her to bathe me. Now, I don't know if she bathed me or what, but I don't remember that part. Only thing I remember is me standing in the tub as a kid and her trying to, with the towel, doing the towel in front of me like this. I don't know if she was drying me off or what, or or trying to make me be cold with the towel, because you know you do that with the towel. Cold air, the cold air gonna hit you. So I don't know what she was doing, but that's the only memory that I have with me and my sister, who was supposed to live together. And another memory is, like, my mama had boyfriends that bust all the windows. Not boyfriends, I'm lying. One in particular, I'm not even gonna say his name. This man and her, once they got together, man, when I say it was havoc, they literally created a nuisance. They really did. I'm talking about this man bust all the windows out. Now, mind you, the projects was dangerous. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how. Well, then again, I was young, so I know a lot of people lost their lives. This the way that whole setup was. The porch was about 2 feet high. The architect who built that place, man, he did a poor job. The porch was about 2 feet high. Right off the porch, you got a front room window, like right there. Like, you can literally be walking in that coat and just jump on the porch and look through somebody's window. God forbid they have their curtain closed or they rise closed. That's how simple and easy it was, is what I'm trying to say, to invade someone's privacy. Like, I'm gonna stay away from the conversation a bit, but it's still, what I'm about to say is, it still matters to this conversation. During that same process in time, my mother was living downstairs. It was a 3-story building. Downstairs, no, 2 stories, downstairs and upstairs. Now, for some reason, they had this elderly lady. I guess she probably was in her 40s or 50s at that time, in 1980, 80-ish, 1 or 2. And for some reason, this lady must have felt sorry for me in my situation, because every time she saw me, she'll call me, do me like this. I go by, she'll give me buku candy, cake, she'll feed me, to the way that sometimes I used to go knock on her door. This one I remember that shit was real. When I go knock on her door, the lady, and I was a kid, the lady never opened the door for me. Never. Now, mind you, back then, I'm thinking that was the norm. I know I'm in a project, but I'm unsupervised and I don't know the severity of the things that's going on. So I just go run in the hallway, go run upstairs, knock on the door when I get hungry or something. Because we ain't had shit in our house. So at times she was there. For the most part she was. At times she wasn't. So if I knock on the door, she said, "Who is it?" I say this. I forgot what I used to say. That was a very long time ago. But when I announce myself, she'll say 1 minute or hold on to something. You can hear the little, because they did have some little chains where you can put on the door. They wasn't worth shit though. You can put on a little thing. Now I don't know if she was going to get a gun or putting on a sofa by the door or something, but I do know she opened up the door just a little. Make sure that's me, and hand me a sandwich bag full of cookies or full of candy, anything. She'll hand it to me. You know? So, yeah. It was a struggle. It really was. It was a struggle for me. It really was. So, for my cousin to like say that, honestly, what I believe in, I honestly truly believe that my sister be telling her all that shit. My sister told her, oh girl, or whatever. My mom used to get him everything because that's what she said. When I was over there talking to her, she was like, yeah, who? Barbara used to, that's my mother's name. Barbara used to give you the world. No, Barbara used to give me the world shit. Now, to my mother's defense, like I told my cousin, in 1980, I won't say the late 80s, my mother wanted to take it sick. And when she took sick, before she took sick, she still was using drugs. You know, and we had to move out the project because she lost her project because all the dudes that they was with, all they was doing was hustling out the house, trapping out the house. He bust all the windows. My mama, brother, and them they was fighting with him. You know what I'm saying? It was a big old mess, man. So that forced us, me and my mother. I don't even know where my sister was. I won't say at that time she had met this big time drug dealer who I found out later on that she really ain't like him from what I heard from her. She told me this. But, you know, back in those days, you got a nice car, your name ringing for, you know, for one thing or another in the project. You know, you got a couple of dollars, you catch a little naive little lady, little girl, you pinch her off a couple of dollars, you know, tell her you gonna call her, or however you gonna, you know, you meet up with her later on. 9 times out of 10, the average female fell for it, especially if they was unsupervised by their parents, like me and my sister was. So, we moved by my grandmother. Shit still ain't get better. My grandmother was staying on the outskirts of the project. You know? And you know, man, I'll be honest. That situation wasn't that situation when we moved from my mother's apartment, well, when she lost it, we moved in with her mother. At the time she was living. But that situation was a mess. Cause my mother had three of her children who couldn't find their way in life, who had, I'm not gonna say mental problems, but they had, how can I say this? I'm gonna simplify it like this. They wasn't educated enough to do things on their own. So they needed help. Therefore, them not being educated enough to do things on their own, that forced them to be under their mother. So you got like my uncle, my auntie maybe got like 3 children, and another one of my aunties, she may have like 2 children. So now here comes my mom. So this thing, and I come from a 2-parent grandparents home. They both, my grandparents, I give them that. They both studied with each other up until they died in the 70s. Late 60s, early 70s, they both passed away. So, like I said, that situation wasn't no better. Because at this time, my grandfather, he come from the military, he wound up catching a stroke, and he needed to be supervised himself. He was in a wheelchair. Now you got my grandfather, my grandmother, my auntie, my other auntie, my cousin, my other cousin, my other cousin, my other cousin, my mama, me. You got like 10, 11 of us in, how many? I can remember 3 houses. One was off of Phillip in St. Thomas. That was a 1, 2, 3. That was a 3-bedroom. And at that time, I remember, now you talking what? 80s, late 80s, 1987, 1986, 87. So around this time, my uncle was home from jail. So now, that made an additional body that's in the house. So man, we was deep in there, bro. Struggle still was the struggle. My uncle, around this time, he had been did so many years in jail. So now he was home. You know, he came there, he taking over shit. But at this time, I'm like a little bit older now. I'm probably in the 5th grade now. Going to law. Still struggling, still hungry. My dude still doing what she doing. Like, you know, like that statement, when I thought about it that my cousin made, it really bothered me. Because it's so much that she don't know. Like, I don't know, maybe my grandparents, they wasn't up for watching me. I remember mama, you know, doing what she do, taking me with her, going to meet men. I didn't know what she was doing when I was young, but now, as when I think back and look back on it, oh, she was turning tricks to get her the money to support her habit. You know? So, like, she got me in the house. I'm in the front room. She tell me to sit right here. I'm in this man's house. Don't know this man from a can of spray paint. While they're in the back. Like, really? You gonna bring me here? Well, you could have just bought me by force me on my daddy. Because one thing I can say, my father, around that time, my father, mother house were, I thought it was God. I really did. Because I'm talking about every now and then and so often he'll come pick me up and bring me over there for a day or two. Looking back on it, that wasn't shit. But I thought it was the world. Because I was so stuck in bondage, being with my mother. The minute he put up, I'm happy. Because I know one thing I go by my grandmother, I go in that house, look on the icebox, you got 8 boxes of cereals. I never saw nothing like that in my life. By my house in the project, we ain't had one. So when I go by my daddy's house, my daddy's mother, not his house, I'm sorry, his mother's house, because he also was a recovering addict around that time too. But he got clean before my mother. So when he come pick up and I go over there, everything clean. You know what I'm saying? I'm always eating, I'm playing, with the little kids around there. It was a neighborhood. I got a chance to see what another place besides the bricks looked like. Because in the bricks, all you saw was poverty. In the neighborhood, I didn't see that. I really didn't. So that's what I wanted to be. But I didn't know nothing about he was recovering off of drugs. You know? And those times, I can honestly say, it didn't bother me when it was going on. It didn't start bothering me until I became an adult, like I mentioned. And only for the reason that when I think about it, I be like, I wouldn't have never did that if this would have been like this. Like, I was really trying to fend for myself as a kid. You know what I'm saying? We ain't had no food in the house. So I'm a kid, 11 years old. I don't know if you all can remember, for those of you who do remember, they had Win Dixie, they had Nationals. You had Schwagners. So these giant superstores like Walmart, but no, not like Walmart. There was big giant grocery stores. And they sold a plethora of items. And you know, that's where everybody used to shop at back then. So when I go over there by him, I see nothing but food. But my mama, I don't see none of that. So therefore, I don't want to go back home. Like for instance, I'm gonna tell you this how serious it was with me, y'all. My mother and my father stayed. Those of you who know, you know. For those of you who don't know what I'm about to say, I'm gonna try to explain it. In New Orleans, they have wards. We don't have boroughs like in upstate upstate United States, like in New York and all that. They go by wards down here, like the 3rd ward, 4th ward, 5th ward, 6th ward, 7th ward. Where my mother raised up in the 12th ward, my father raised up in the 13th ward, right by each other. Apparently that's how they met. He's from the 13th ward, which is right behind the 12th ward. So when she became pregnant, got a project, she moved to the 10th ward. That's where she was initiating to raise me at. So from the 10th ward to the 13th ward is about a mile is 12 blocks. That's about it's about 4 miles. Maybe not that much. Probably 3.5. But it's about 3.5 to 4 miles of distance between my mother St. Thomas Project house apartment and the 13th ward, which where my father was staying at with his mother at the time, still recovering. I can recall this how serious it was that I didn't want to be with my mother. One time my father came and got me on the weekend, packed a bag. I don't even know if I packed a bag. We gone. I know he had a green OIC truck around this time. I remember it vividly. Man come pick me up in that truck, Go bring me the 13th ward. He was hanging around in a little bar where he grew up at in the 13th ward. So, man, I thought that was the best thing in the world. He'll bring me around there. He got me around all these winos. When I think about it, you know what I'm saying? There was some crazy shit. He got me around all these dudes. I'm playing on the trees and going to the store time saver, and I'm just doing what a kid do. And one of these times he did that, something happened to it, and he had to bring me right back home to the project that night. So he like, Mike, come on. Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I don't know if he said that. Because that was so long ago. I just remember me and him heading back home. He dropped me off in the project, and he left. Now, don't you know I had to be probably about, what, 19 years old? Check game. I had to be like 19 years old. Don't you know I was crying, trying to go leave with him and go back by him because I didn't want to be with my mama? Don't you know I lays up there and say, F it, fuck it. I'm about to go back up there. Man, it's some sick shit. I leave out my mother's house, I literally walk all the way to the 13th ward. Where was my parents? Anything could have happened to me. I walked all the way to the 13th ward, spotted his van. His van was in front. Man, it's crazy, dog. This crazy. I remember this like it was yesterday. His van was in front the bar where he used to be at, right? So what I do? I go straight to his van, open up the doors, and I go get in the back and just chill back there. I don't remember what happened after that, but that's some crazy shit. I know he wound up busting me and catching me, but I forgot what happened after that. I know I opened up the van, got in, and I ducked off. Because I didn't want to be by my mama. That's how bad it was. I wanted to be by him. You know, because I can eat over there. I can play. So, I can't remember nothing after that. But I know he wound up catching me, and he took me back home. But I don't remember it, dude. But, y'all get my point, right? So, yeah, it was just bad, bro. It was just bad. You know, so what my cousin was saying was my mother used to do for me. Like I said, now, when I reached 16, 17, shit, about 15, I was done. I was in the streets. Stealing cars, crackhead and hit the streets hard. Me and a few more people that I was cool with at the time, we put a play together. Now we won't sell drugs. Now I'm selling drugs. Bam, I get popped. I do remember my mother got me a lawyer. So, from that point on, I can't say she was there. I do give her that. From the age of 17 to 23, she was there for me. She really was. In a physical form. Because when I hit 23, I wound up catching a joke or 11-year jail sentence. And also, she was there for me too. When I called, she bumped one for me. At the time, it was one on the what it is, 9 jail. She was there for me. I can call. I remember her having moving. She attempted to buy her first house. She had a bedroom for me, you know. But at this time, I was becoming a young man, and I had met a young lady that I had begun to make kids with, but I went to jail. So I'll be honest, she was there for me for those hot years, from about 17 to 23, because I got in all type of shit. And even 15, because I was so active as a child, to the way that I was hurting a lot of shit on my body. You know what I'm saying? Playing sports. Like I broke my leg, playing football. I remember her bringing me to the hospital. I fractured my neck, flipping on dirty mattresses. She brought me to the hospital. I got hit in the head with a brick. She brought me to the hospital. So she must have brought me to children's hospital about 5 times. When I think about it, like, damn, I stood in children's hospital. But that goes back to my parent. For me to have stood in children's hospital all those times, where was my supervision? I'm talking about, this probably like right before the drug epidemic hit New Orleans. So I'm talking what? Because I started hustling at around 16 years old. So I'm going to say a good 2 years, 14 and 15. Shit, right before I started hustling, I'm talking about I'm messing with bikes, skateboards, skates, anything physical, I'm on it. Playing football, playing touch football one time. A friend of mine, he trying to touch me, he accidentally finger with my eye, tore my pupil. She brought me to the hospital for that. Like, she literally, I ain't gonna lie, I give her that. She brought me to the hospital like literally 5 times. So, but, like, I can never remember her saying, stay inside. Don't go outside. Come eat. Come take a bath. I can't remember her saying none of that. Literally, none of that. So, you know, my childhood, I'll be honest, it was a fucked up childhood. It really was. It really was. And I couldn't do nothing about it. I remember placing myself in so many places that I shouldn't have been. It's only by the grace of God, bro, I promise you. Thank you, Father. Although my life ain't where it should be, where I want to be, but I'm human, and I'm still striving. I've been through a lot, man. I really have. I've been through a lot. But I'm thankful. I'm thankful. I'm really is thankful. You know? And it's just, and so I'll be honest, sometimes I wish she was here. Because mind you, I ain't start brainstorming on my childhood until after she passed. Really. That's when I really start brainstorming on my childhood. But it's all good though, you know? It's all good. It's all good. So, yeah. You know, that was really a dangerous, bro. That was dangerous. For me to be a little bitty kid, running that project like that, with some more, or maybe another child who probably was my age, who whose mother was probably like mine. Because when drugs hit New Orleans, I'm beyond, they hit him hard. So a lot of people got taken under due to those drugs. And unfortunately, I was one of them. But a lot of guys also was living the same life I was living. Running around that project unsupervised by a parent. You know? And so I just didn't know any better. And I was searching for love, but searching for it in all the wrong places. I really was. I really was. And I don't hold it against my mother, no. I really don't. I just wish that she was here so we can have a face-to-face conversation upon that. Yes. So, I'm gonna make this out of a 5-part series. This is part 1. For my fans, I hope you all enjoyed part 1. I will come back with 4 more parts. So, yeah. This is part 1. For all my Superfly Entertainment fans, make sure you share this video. Make sure you like this video. Most importantly, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And anybody that you know or a kid to that's not following Superfly Entertainment, let them know that Superfly Entertainment is here to stay. And hit that notification bell so you can be uploaded on when I come up with some new videos. Peace. I'm out.